Welcome, everyone, to my channel. If you haven't been here before, pull a seat, sit down. We are going to talk about Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Now, I've been enjoying this. Been enjoying the Audible a lot. It's been really interesting to listen to. It's had a few twists already, so, And I forgot, because, when I read the back, I forgot. So, anyways, I'm going to read the back to you, and then I'm going to jump right into the book. So, Mare Barrow's world is divided by blood, those with red and those with silver. Mare and her family are lowly reds, destined to serve the silver elite whose supernatural abilities make them nearly gods. When Mare accidentally discovers a power of her own she didn't know she had, the Silver King is forced to hide the impossibility of her power and pretend she's a long-lost silver princess betrothed to one of his sons. Soon, Mare is drawn into the silver world where loyalty and desire can tear you apart and the only certainty is betrayal. And before long, her actions put into motion a deadly and violent dance, pitting prince against prince and Mare against her own heart. We start out with them explaining what First Friday is, that everybody is to go to this arena and watch these two silvers fight it out. Now this is a showcase to show you that, hey, we have all this power. This is why you can't do shit, because you don't have power. Because apparently if you are born with red blood, you can't do anything. Born with silver blood, you have powers. We meet Kilorn Warren, whom she was crushing on and wanting to date, I guess. They're also thieves. Stealing what they need for their people. Where they live is in the stilts, where her dad built the house high so they could see across the river, which is really weird. He actually is damaged from the war. He came back from the war damaged. They have 3 brothers. What are their names? So her oldest brother is Bree, then you got Trammy, and then Shade, then her, Mare, and then Gisa. So that's all of them. So Bree, Trammy, and Shade are in a war fighting because they're conscripted for I don't know how long to fight in a war. And in the universe, no news is good news because most of the times they can't learn to read. They don't know how to read and write, but Shade does. Shade knows how to write. They have a letter from their brother Shade. The choke is where they are. They pulled back from it. They're preparing for a navy battle. So there's that. He found out some information about Trammy too, so they knew some things. So yeah, Gisa has a job. She says she works for around silvers who buy their wear and stuff. And then later that night, because Kilorn had a master that afternoon, his master had an accident and died. He fell and died. So he's not an apprentice somewhere. So he doesn't have a job. So he has no guarantee. So they're going to send him off to war. Conscription is terrible. So she decides that she's going to think of a way to get him out of it. She goes to a guy named Will, who is a black market dealer, and she asks for him to give her and Kilorn safe passage. So she meets Farley, who sits there and says, ask about everything, what they want, where they move, safety has a price. So she's like, the Scarlet Guard accepts Mare Barrow. Payment is expected in full to equivalent of 1,000 crowns. This can be paid in paper notes, chart coins. So she's like, do you accept the terms? And she's like, I accept the terms. She said, yeah, we just need to make money. And he's like, oh no, I need to train up. But we're never going to get that. So Gisa, she wakes Gisa up after Gisa's sleeping. Saying, I need your help to stop Kilorn from being conscripted because of his master. So I haven't found a way out, but I need your help. What the help is to get her into Summerton, where the silvers are, because the king and queen are there, so she can steal something off from one of the silvers to bring back and trade for 1,000. What do they call it? They called it something. Crowns. For 1,000 crowns. So they split up, and she's walking around thinking about things and listening to people, trying to figure out how she's going to, thieve. So then a new newscasting comes on about a terrorist group calling themselves the Scarlet Guard that blew up the Capitol, and then they released a video. And the video is with Farley. She recognized, Mayor recognizes Farley, saying that we are the Scarlet Guard and we stand for the freedom and equality of all people, starting with the Reds. You believe you are the masters of the world, but your reign as kings and gods is at an end until you recognize us as human, as equal. The fight will be at your door. Not on a battlefield, but in your cities, in your streets, in your homes. You don't see us, so we are everywhere. And we will rise up, red as dawn. Now, the red as dawn hints something inside of her. She realizes that she met Farley, the Scarlet Guard captain, and her brother Shade had warned her about it, because he's apparently part of it. Yeah. So she tries to get back to her sister, and they're like, we have to go. So they rush out, and she finds out that Mara didn't get anything. So she tries to steal from a silver herself. Keitha, who doesn't know how to steal, tries to steal from a silver. Gets caught, and her hand is destroyed. Because that's the laws. So Mare runs and runs and runs, and then she comes up to this place where drunks come out. She's just pilfering money from them, and then she says one last pocket, and she pilfers from someone who catches her. And she's like, obviously. So she tells her whole life freaking story to this guy about how she needs to do it, except for she leaves out Killorn, she leaves out Farley, she leaves out the Red Guard. And he's like, I have a good job. She's like, that makes one of us, but you're 17. I still have some time before conscription. He's like, how much time? Less every day. And there are no jobs. No way for you to avoid conscription. Maybe things are different where you're from. So you still, it's the best I can do. My sister has a job, though. Not anymore. His name is Cal, by the way. He introduced himself as Cal. So, yeah. In the morning, they wake up. Well, actually, she goes back home, finds her dad outside for the first time, and he was looking at the power to see why they weren't getting power. And she puts her hand down there and feels a pinprick, like a needle spiking on her nerves, and power comes back on. So she hears the hum of electricity, and she thinks everybody can hear the hum of electricity. I hate to tell you that, but no. She's like happy that he's getting out of the house, and she says, Mom will be happy you're getting out. She's like, nope, don't tell her. I'm never going to get better. I can't let her hope for me being like going back to the way it was when I had legs and I could walk and shit. So, yeah. So the next morning, they come, and 2 officers come with a royal servant, a red, who serves the king, and they think they're there for a seizure, or a search and seizure, because that's where they normally come. And the girl accepts her and goes, Mayor Barrow, you have been summoned to Somerton. We will escort you. Please proceed. Don't worry. The hall and the market are controlled now. Please proceed. So she gets taken. She says, I love you to her parents and sister. And she gets taken to the hall, and she's like, call me Walsh. Well, and we go by our last names, call me Walsh. I knew your brother trained me. I wish I didn't know Bree. So, job. She's like, what job? She's like, the serving post you've been summoned to fill. And she doesn't understand. She's like, I don't have time to hold your hand, keep up. And she's following, and she's confused, and she doesn't know what's going on. And now she works for the Hall of the Sun. So say nothing, hear nothing, speak to no one, for they will not speak to you. And she learns what the Spiral Garden is about. Where she's supposed to be serving for. Basically what it is that it's the Queen's trial where women of marrying age go out and show off their skills to be chosen to be the prince's wife. And they're like, all kinds of high noble. So, yeah. And that's when she realizes, while she's, serving one of this family, getting water and everything, that Cal is actually a prince. He's Tiberius Calor the 6th. Or is he the 7th? Pretty sure. The prince maven of House Calor and Murtis. And, of course, the crown prince, Tiberius, so he's Tiberius Calor the 7th, and everyone calls him Cal. And then she realized that Cal, who gave her the job, who she almost pickpocketed from the night before, is actually the crown prince. So, of course, he's got a good job, She goes back to the servants' quarters. She listens to everything. The Silvers start doing their job, and this electricity dome covers it over to protect all from being attacked and hurt. And there's a lot of difference. A strong arm, a green warden, an oblivion, a Megatron. So while she's serving this fat lord, the box, the lower floor, the lowest row of boxes, where she's in one of them, start getting pulled down and in, and she gets bumped into by the fatty dude. So she falls. She falls on top of the electricity thing and gets, almost electrocuted apparently, but nothing really happens. The electricity dome disappears, and she falls down inside of it, and she dodges. Well, she protects herself from the electricity of the lady. I think her name was Evangeline of House Samos. She tried to attack Mare. Mare put her hand up and electricity blocked it, and then she accidentally shot electricity at her, and she went to run away. And of course, she didn't get very far. Cal actually prevented her from getting very far. She woke up. Well, she didn't wake up. She started dreaming about her mom and them saying goodbye to Bree, to Tramey, to Shade, to her going to the choke, even though she's never been there, to watching family, her family fighting for their lives, and she sees memories of that she doesn't remember, that she's never remembered. So the Queen Alara is there, and they have a little talk. Queen Alara is a whisperer, which means she can get into people's head and see things, and incapacitate her. And she's like, "You're very lucky that you did this where people could see, because you are a miracle and a possibility." So she's like, "You're lucky you did that in front of hundreds of Silvers, people who will ask questions, people with power." She's like, "That's the only reason why you're alive." The next time she wakes up, a security officer is there staring at her, and he's like, "You have to tell me where my family is." I don't have to do anything but take you upstairs. So he escorts her upstairs, and he actually talks to her, like, change your clothes. Megatron, yes, and in case you're wondering, the girl you nearly fried is a cousin. He's like, "Be sorry you missed her. Evangeline's a bitch." He's like, "I guess you'll find out if I am a bitch too." He's like, "Follow me." So, he's explaining things like she's a shadow, a bender of light. Queen Lara tells her to bow when they get in front of them, all four of them. And he's like, "Do you enjoy your cell?" And she's like, "What do you want from me?" "What I want concerning you is impossible." She's like, "I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not sorry you can't kill me." He said, "They didn't say you were quick." Mayor Molly Barrow, born November 17, 302 of the New Era, to Daniel and Ruth Barrow. You have no occupation. You're scheduled for conscription on your next birthday. You attend school sparingly. You're committed with tests at school. So yeah. And yet you are so, he lists a bunch of generations. He's like, you are also something else, something I can't fathom. You are a red and silver both. A peculiarity with deadly consequences you do not understand. What am I to do with you? He's like, Queen Alara wants her dead. He's like, we cannot kill you, Mayor Barrow. Not yet. So we're going to hide you in plain sight where we can watch you, protect you, and attempt to understand you. You are no longer Red Barrow, Mayor Barrow, a red daughter of the Stilts. Your father was Ethan Titanos, General of the Iron Legion, killed when you were an infant, a soldier, a red man, who took you for his own and raised you in the dirt, never telling you of your true parentage. You grew up believing you were nothing. And now, thanks to chance, you are made whole again. You are Silver, a lady of a lost high house, a noble with great power, and one day a princess of Norta. Norta is their country. A Silver, a princess. You will marry my son Maven. And you will do nothing to put it to our line. Cal's taken off. Maven is taken off. They don't understand. So they want her to become a symbol because they think it'll stop the Scarlet Guard from attacking them if they have a red pretending to be, who grew up, a Silver who grew up as a red, who obviously understood the red's plight in some way, shape, or form. She's like, what about my life? Alara's like, what life, girl? You have fallen head over heels into a miracle. She means her family. Mare, the girl, has a family. So the king's like, oh, that. I suppose we'll give them an allowance to keep them quiet. I want my brothers brought home from the war. And my friend Clorn Warren. Don't let the legions take him either. He's like, done. I'll do it. It's done. Pardon. They don't have to be in the war no more. They can come home. Look. I just realized you guys can't really see me all that well. There. You can see me better. So her new name is Lady Marina Titanos, born to Lady Noelle Titanos and Lord Ethan Titanos, General of the Iron Legion, heir to the House of Titanos. So that's what she's got to remember her name as. They go up. So she wakes up, getting dressed. So the maids are trying to take away her earrings, but she says, leave them. You can change everything else, but leave the earrings. Cal apologizes for getting her into all of this. It's his fault that she's there in the first place. His fault that things have gone the way they have. And he's like, oh, how thoughtful of you. And he's like, Lucas is a good man. His only things I'm weak for his kindness. He'll serve you well and fairly. I'll make sure of it. She's like, are you sorry for stopping my one chance of escape? You mean if you got past the sentinels to carry the walls, the woods, back to your village to wait until the queen hunted you yourself? Stopping you is the best thing for you and your family. He's like, I know the queen would have torn the world apart, little lightning girl. Don't call me that. Your mother calls me. She's not my mother. She's Maven's mother. There's a little tit for tat right there. So she's like, the moment I mess up could be my last. And he's like, yeah, I think you'll get the hang of it. So she has to think about the lie that she has to sit there and do. She freaks out about the lift because she's never been on a lift before. Never been in cars before. Electricity is like a big thing for her. So they get introduced. And she gets introduced by the king and queen. And how that they're going to get married. She's Maven. Maven sits there and asks for her hand in marriage. She accepts. And then they talk about Cal getting a queen, Lady Evangeline. So he does his own marriage proposal, and she accepts. She's smug about it. She's like, "Don't get in my way, or I'll kill you slowly, little lightning girl." Evangeline says that to Mare. He continues his speech, and then they sit there talking about how the Scout Guard is insignificant. But of course, Mare knows the king is a liar. She suffers through the feast. People say thank yous and stuff, and she gets a little drunk off from this nice, lovely drink. And then there's a bunch of toasts at the end of the feast to the future queen, to the future princess, to Evangeline. Well, Ptolemy is to his daughter. So they leave, go to the royal quarters, and Alara's like, take the girls to rooms. Cal and Maven says, I can do it at the same time. Alara's like, that would be inappropriate. It's like, Oscar Marine maybe can take Evangeline. So that's what they do. Cal never got a choice in who it was. Evangeline was picked from the very beginning for him, and he hates that. Maven doesn't have a choice. He had a choice, but now he doesn't. It's been taken away from him. He was like, it was nice to have a choice, even though now I don't. Cal says, I've sent your family a letter telling them everything they need to know, but we can't tell them everything. So I've also sent a conscript release for your brothers and your friend. So your parents know you're alive, parents know you're well, parents know you're living and working in the castle as a servant for now. She's like, when your life becomes more public, we'll figure out how to deal with them. You can't riddle them a letter. It's for your own protection if anyone intercept it and find out. And then she's like, why are the cameras here? So he didn't know there was cameras in her room. And she's like, you can't feel them? So she was like, is that not normal? Not to my knowledge. She's like, great. So I'm not even normal. Queen Alara gives her a very harsh schedule to follow. 7:30 hours breakfast. 800 hours protocol. 1130 hours luncheon. 1300 lessons. 1800 dinner. Lucas will court you to all. Schedule is not negotiable. So she gets up, she gets dressed by her people. She gets to her breakfast. She eats her breakfast there. She gets a little more information about the luncheon that they're having at the glass terrace with the ladies of the Queen's Child and their mothers. And the fact that they won't be leaving for a couple of weeks, but they'll be leaving at the same time they are to return to the capital, Archium. She gets escorted to her first lesson, which is with a healer who is a blood healer who can heal herself. Apparently there's also another type of healer too. And Lady Blanos teaches her etiquette. How to sit, how to stand, how to talk, how to sleep, all that stuff. She had actually watched Maven and Evangeline and Cal, Maven and Evangeline and Cal fight, practice their training with their powers. Then she gets to meet people. Sonia from the House of Iroh and Elena from the House of Haven. Sonia does not understand anything. Her grandmother, Lady Ira, was a panther. She was an intelligence gathering soldier, and she knew the people she's pretending to be, their parents. It's like, I knew your mother, and your mother, they had blue eyes. She's like, I'm different in many ways. So when she gets done her halfway to lesson, she begins to feel normal. Maybe it's still alive. They talk a little bit, and he's like, are you done for the day? I can show you around if you want. She goes, no, I have lessons next. Your mother loves her schedule. She does indeed. Well, I won't keep you. I think my favorite quote will be, we'd get there much faster if you actually moved. That's my favorite quote, I believe. She's speaking to this guy. She finds a map of the world, what it was like beforehand. I wish they had a map in here. Like, that'd be interesting if they had a map, but they don't. and the map of the before and after, but they don't. She's like, can you find where we are? So she finds them. She's like, do you know where this is or that is? And they talk. And he's like, she's like, why is no one watching those? Because she can't sense the cameras. She's like, so there is a difference. She's why? Mare, I'm here to teach you your history, to teach you how to be silver and how to be useful. She's like, my name is Rena. I'm also going to try to understand exactly how you came to be and how your abilities work. My abilities came to be because I'm a silver. So he's like, no, you're not. You must never forget it. I have no plans of learning anyone to your heritage. I am above all things a curious man. And when you entered Queen's Trial, a red servant, and ran out some long-lost silver lady, I have to say I was quite curious. He's like, I have the power to turn them off. She says, what is your power? He says, mare. When a silver says power, they mean might, strength. Ability, on the hand, refers to all the silly little things we can do. She's like, my sister was queen once. So, like, Julius Jacos, head of House Jacos, inherited nothing more than a few old books. His mother, his sister, was the late Queen Crane and Prince Tiberius VII Cal, his uncle. So, there's that. She's like, so, I'm just... And she's like, you're not going to turn me into some science experiment for the queen? He's like, my dear, the queen would like nothing more than for you to disappear. Discovering what you are, helping you understand is the last thing she wants. But you're into it anyways. He's like, the queen's reach is not so long as she wants you to think. I want to know what you are, and I'm sure you do too. So, I'm sorry to say I must also do what was asked to prepare you for the day you step forward. She's like, they want to use me for rebellion somehow. She goes, yes. My dear brother-in-law and queen believe you can do so if you use appropriately. She's like, that's stupid, impossible idea. I won't do anything. I won't be able to do anything. He's like, you're wrong, Mare. You don't understand the power you have now, how much you can control. The Scarlet Guard are too distract for most, too much, too fast. But you are the controlled change, the kind people can trust. You are the slow burn that will quench revolution with a few speeches and smiles. You can speak to the Reds, tell them how noble, how benevolent, how right the King and the Silvers are. You can talk to your people back into their chains. Even the Silvers who question the King, the ones who have doubts, can be convinced by you, and the world will stay the same. And you don't want that? You're a silver. You should hate the Scarlet Guard me. Thinking all silvers is wrong is just thinking all reds are inferior. What my people are doing to you and yours is wrong. It's the deepest level of humanity. Oppressing you, trapping you in an endless cycle of poverty and death. Just because we think you are different from us, that's not right. And as any student of history can tell you, it will end poorly. So that's where I'm at. 34% away in. I have read more of Red Queen. Julian is, of course, doesn't want silvers to repress, I guess. So her days take on a rhythm, you know. She does protocol, lessons. Alara parades her at lunch and dinners. The Panther and Sonia, of course, haven't said anything to her since then. Let's see. The women are very picking at her, which is really hard, and she has to lie, of course, to make it seem like that. And then Julian and her finally sit there and figure out how to trigger her powers, which is nice. She has to let herself go because she's trying to contain it, and that's when she realizes, she can do things. And they're like, we need a bigger classroom because Fry's the bookshelf he brought in, the stone bookshelf. So they find bigger and bigger ones, and she's learning how to aim, how to control it, how to call upon it, and also figured out that though she does call for lightning first to come to her, she actually can produce the lightning within her own body. And that's when he explains to her that no one can create like Mare can. So, all of the silvers cannot create. They can only manipulate what is already there. So, yeah. They have to learn how to do that. They have to learn how to control what's already there. But she can create electricity within her own body and use it. So it's different. She's something more, something different. She's a red with these powers that she can create, which proves that maybe reds are not as useless as they think they are, and that it's just something that hasn't been discovered yet. Of course, I don't know. I'm just thinking. Maybe the other countries have found some reds that can produce powers and kept quiet about them, killed them. I don't know. She gets overwhelmed and she just has to leave, so she gets out and gets soaked in the rain. And she's out on the balcony getting soaked. The guards want to bring her back to her lessons, keep her on schedule, and Maven waves them off, saying, I will get her back to her lessons. And then she's like, you know what your problem is? You're homesick. I can fix that. So he brings her to his brother Cal, who has obviously snuck out before. So they sneak out. Of course, when they sneak out on a cycle. I think it's a motorcycle. So it's something he actually built, and he wants it to be mass produced. And so then they have questions. He goes out to view the reds to see what the situation is like outside of what the advisors and other people in high power tell him about the situations, because he wants to know what's really going on in his kingdom, because he thinks that's what a good king should do. And they have some questions and stuff like about how to Mayor, she's like, we should let people know that reds can eventually control power. She's like, yeah, we should let reds know that they can develop power. That I'm something new, and we can make reds equals here in Norta, and maybe it'll spread out to the other ones. And Cal's like, all the other kingdoms are just like us, and our allies will not support us if we make reds equals. So we're afraid that if, he's like, if we try to change the way the status quo is, we'll probably be eaten alive and divided, and we won't exist no more. So he's like, we have to keep the status quo the same. You have to get the reds in line, and I'll keep the silvers in line, and everybody will be in their places. And Mayor's like, you don't understand what we go through as reds. You don't. And she's like, we can make it better. We can make reds and silvers equal, and from there, maybe we'll be the trigger. Norta will be the trigger that changes the rest of the world. And then they get home. And Mayor sees Bree for the first time, Trammy for the first time, Mom and Dad are there, Gisa's there, and they're like, so I have to talk about the lie first, because they're like, the lie is that she works there, she's a servant there, and of course, there's also a lottery for the Barrow boys. They won, and they were released from conscription because they won this lottery. And her mom's like, oh, everything's going right for us right now, it's going good. Cal is like, nothing's going on. Mayor chose to work at the palace, she signed a contract for a year of service. And he's like, pretends like he's from Harbor Bay, and that he just travels a lot like the servants, and that she'll have to do the same thing. And then she asks about, it's not just you, dear, her mom says. And then she's like, where's Shade? And they're like, we didn't want to tell you later, he died before the discharge came. And what they're told is that he tried to run away, he was executed and beheaded. So, that means her brother's dead. Mary kind of loses it a little bit, and blows like a couple of light bulbs, and electricity's arcing. And then Killorn is there because he was watching for her to come back, and they like, he's like, what did they do to you? She's like, they didn't do anything, this is what I am, because she looks at Cal, and he nods his head and says, yeah, go ahead and tell them. And Killorn's like, are you one of them? Are you? And her mom's like, Mary's my daughter, Killorn. We all know that. She's like, give me a knife and I'll settle it right now. I'll show you what color I bleed. He's like, I just don't understand. And he's like, Bree's like, I'm with Killorn on this one. We know who you are, but how? She's like, we don't know how or why, just that it is. We might never know what it means. And her mother's like, it's a miracle. We've always wanted better for you, and now we're getting it. Bree and Trammy is safe. Giza won't have to worry. We can live happy in you. You, my dear, you'll be someone special. What more can a mother ask? So that's where I'm at. She's with her family. She gets to see them. It's a little happy little get-together thing going on. I'm not going to continue this until Tuesday, because I got Monday off, Labor Day. Not Labor Day, but Martin Luther King Jr. died. Yay! But I'm almost to chapter 15. Interesting. So it's going really good right now, and I'm enjoying it. So, I think I will be continuing this story. Currently at this moment, I have actually written down its next book on my little yellow paper and folded it up and put it in my TBR jar. So yeah, I think I'm going to be continuing this series. It's good so far. I'm enjoying it. It's engaging me. So obviously, we won't really be able to judge for now whether I like it or not until the very end. I figure there's some things that's going to pop up eventually that might show some twists or whatnot within the story. But for now, I'm enjoying it. I have listened to 2 more days of this. And then I realized that, out of all this, I don't know why I keep saying I know what I want to say. It just stumbles out of me as and it's really irritating. I am 57% of the way through this book at the current moment that I stopped listening to it today, and I still have 5 hours and 20 minutes left. 5 hours and 20 minutes. That's a lot. And there's storms coming. Welcome to winter, folks. It's a terrible time for people to be. I'm also on my night jams because I've already eaten. I cooked. I ate. I'm currently editing good videos. You can't see it because I have to put a white screen up for you to see my beautiful face as much as possible because I have no sun in the back there to light me up beautifully. Okay? So I'm half lit up. Technically this is my thing that I need to go by. It's like my whole hey look, editing tool shit, or not editing tool shit. It's a calendar of what I need to edit when I need to edit, and what I need to record and when I need to record it. It's a weird ass little calendar, but it works for me. It works for me. It does both of my stuff. And then I have another one, which is my posting schedule of when things need to be uploaded, so that way I don't get behind in uploading videos, because I am in advance, but I still don't want to get uploaded. And why is my hand brown? Did I touch something brown? It's probably from work. You never know. But I do know I have sliced my finger open. Technically, I thought I sliced both 2 fingers open. On 2 hands. Oh, yeah, that one doesn't bother me anymore. But I know you can't see it, but there's a boo-boo on this finger. Have you had paper cuts? Probably in your life. But let me tell you, cardboard cuts hurt more. Because right now, it hurts. It really, really does hurt. Okay, so let's why? Let's get into this, okay? Where we were left off. So as we left off, what's her name again? Mare had told her parents everything, that she was pretending to be a prince, pretending to be a forgotten lady to marry a prince. So, yeah, that's what she's currently doing. That's what she tells them that she's currently doing. And, Giza asks who Cal is, and he's like, and she's like, oh, no, wait. She asks, who's this, your bodyguard? And he's like, I am. And I'm sorry, but we have to be going soon. And then her mom's like, we won't be saying anything, and they all agree. Lauren, of course, agrees, but it's really terrible. Her mother's like, it's a gift, don't waste it. Bree's like, you'll come back, won't you? You're a princess now, you get to make the rules. She's like, I'll try. Cal apologizes about her brother Shade, not knowing that he was already dead. And then she's like, I need to make one more stop. So she stops to talk to Will. And their conversation about royal monkeys choose a queen this past week, of course, they had to broadcast everything to the Silver Cities. So the Chrism Guard already knows about Mare being a fake Lady Titanos. Yeah. So, a new guy comes out. His name is Tristan. He's one of Farley's lieutenants. And, Will's like, be gentle, Tristan. And he asks why. Because he's like, tell me, is she as unpleasant as she looks? And that's talking about Evangeline Summers, was broadcasted to be, Cal's wife, the future queen of the Silver Kingdom of Norta. Such a weird name for a kingdom, Norta. And then she sits there and says they ain't all monkeys. And he's like, are you talking about the prince you're engaged to, or the one waiting in the woods? And, of course, Tristan's like, you brought us over here? The prince? We can take him. And Will's like, you'll leave him alone. No, actually, she says that. But, Will gets him to calm down. She asked to join the Royal Guard because Shade was part of the Royal Guard. And she wants to do something about it. So, she wants to join. That's what she is. And they ask, are you with us, my bro? I'm with you. And he says, we will rise. And she speaks with them, red as the dawn. So, she goes back to Cal, who's waiting by his bike, and he talks about how, Cal talks about how he'll have the queen reschedule her, rearrange her schedule, because he needs good training. She needs good training, not bad training, because she's getting training with Julian, but not the kind of training that she needs to get, which is, because she almost blew things up. So, he's like, I'll talk to the queen about it and change it. She's like, if it gets me out of protocol, I won't say no. FYI, it doesn't. She still has protocol. It's just shorter. Kalarn shows up and goes, excuse me, your highness, figuring out that he is the prince. And he's like, you really leaving? And she's like, well, you saw what happened in there, what I can do. I'm where I'm supposed to be. He's like, you're supposed to be here. She's like, I have to go. And Cal's like, leave her alone. He says, I'll tell Farley you said hello. So he's going to join the Red Guard as well. And she doesn't want him to, because she's been protecting him ever since she found him starving at a doorstep. That's the word I was looking for. Starving at the doorstep. So, yeah. Walsh is there in the morning, freaking her out. But all she does is give her, Alice Flowers rise red as the dawn, and, she gives her a teacup with, water, gray liquid, and a blank curl of paper with a message on it that says midnight. And then she gets her new schedule. So from 7 to 10 is training. From 10 to 11:30 is protocol. From 1300 to 1400 is protocol. Lesson starts at 1400. So, it changes. She has 2 blocks of protocol. And less lessons. And it's just like, ugh. Oh my god. So she goes to the training. And she meets somebody who is, I don't know, scary. Okay? It's just scary. I don't know if I would want to meet this guy. So Andros is from the House of Laris, and he is... No, not House of Laris. Andros. Where are you from, Andros? What house are you from? Oh, it says it's his last name. Igri? Now that's who she trades blows with. Who is this terrible guy? I don't remember his name. But, Rain Arvin. Rain Arvin is the instructor, the executioner, the silence. He doesn't speak very loud at all. Like, at all. And Silvers don't like him because he can reduce them to a red, where he can turn off their abilities. He can make them be normal. And, yeah. So, they do laps. And at first, she's running up there. She gets past all of them and gets up next to Cal. And then, woof! Something in the stomach gets her. Training. Obstacle dodge while running. So, then she does a whole aiming thing, because if something comes out and she aims at it to target it, and, yeah. It's grueling and tiresome. She goes to see Julian for protocol, and, not protocol, but for lessons, and she sees a death list, and she sits there and talks about how she's not a fan of the schedule change. And she also talks about, no, actually, while they're talking about the schedule change, he's, like, talking about how he wasn't doing the training that, what they were doing was training. He wouldn't call that training. And he's like, I watched you guys. You did very well. He's like, I asked to watch. And he sits there and says it doesn't matter. And she says it doesn't matter, and she relaxes. And then he releases it. And she's like, what does that? She's like, well, Lady Bonus isn't talking about House Jackos, because that's what he's from. He's from House Jackos. His sister was queen, from House Jackos. And he's like, we're called singers, well, we would be if I'm not the last of my kind. So he's the last singer that exists. But he can sing as long as someone hears him, as long as he can look into their eyes. He can make a person do it as they wish. And no matter what anybody else thinks, his sister did not sing her way to becoming queen. The king fell in love with the queen, and Corinne became queen because the king chose her because they fell in love. They were actually in love with each other. So she wasn't chosen by the queen's trial. Tiberius Calor VI married her because he loved her. And a lot of people hated her because of it, because they were from a low house and didn't have strength, and then they ended her life. And she's like, well, I just found out my brother died, one of them, you know. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. You wouldn't. The army doesn't report executions in their little books. She's like, desertion seems to have more in common than you think, ma'am. And he says they'll kill everyone if anybody gets in their way. Chapter 16. She waits a week for midnight, because she said midnight, but it takes a week. And they turn off all the electricity, and Walsh is there to guide her. She meets Farley, and then Holland is talked about. He's another one. He comes in with Maven. Apparently Maven wants to join the Red Guard. I don't know why, but he does. So, he has to convince Farley about why he wants to be in it, and he's like, this world is wrong, my father's done what my brother will do wrong. And then he talks about how when he was 12, he was sent to the front line to be toughened up, because Cal was perfect. And then he met a boy there, a red, named Thomas, and he watched him die, and he was like, I could have saved him, but the guards told me his life wasn't worth mine. Cal calls it balance. Rail silver over red. And he's like, I'm trying to tell you that I'm not the same as the rest of them. I think my life is worth yours, and I'll give it gladly, if it means change. So he believes that they're equals, and that their lives should be given equally, not unequally. So, yes. So she swears on her colors, which is like swearing on your life, your family, and your children to come. And he does. He says he pledges himself to the Scarlet Card. And they're like, we want names, locations, targets, what we can hit, and when to cause the most damage. He's like, I would prefer less violent methods. And she's like, nope, can't do that. She's like, she wants to use a silver prince turning against his crown and a red girl with abilities. They want them to be the figureheads once they get the attention of the whole country, so that way they can use it as a way to take over. Of course, the king is hiding what they're doing, obviously. And she sits there and snaps at him. She's like, because they're like, the Silvers will turn on us, things will get worse. She says, and more will join us. More will live the lives we live are wrong, and that something can be done to change it. And she's like, was my brother's sacrifice worth it to you? She's like, Shade knew what he was getting into. She's like, what about everybody else? What about the kids and the elders and anyone who hasn't signed up for your glorious revolution? Maven's like, think of your histories, Mare. What has your learning taught you? Revolution needs a spark, and even sparks burn. So, where is it? Oh, yeah. She's like, well, if Kaloran approaches you, don't allow him in. And he's like, too late. I'm already a part of it. He's already in there. And she's arguing with him about how he shouldn't be in it. And then finally she's like, do what you want. And then she's like, the power is coming back on soon. We should move. And they're gone. And he goes, Mare, at least say goodbye. And she just continues walking away. She's learning how to dance for the parting ball. And then there's actually the training session where they're actually battling against each other. That's a little weird, them battling against each other. So, a nymph who uses water and Maven who uses fire went up against each other. Maven lost, obviously, because he got trapped. And then Sonia challenges Elaine, and I believe Elaine can, I don't know what Elaine can do, but Sonia can disappear, right? No, Elaine disappears, but Sonia is still around.
I know you did.
I don't know what Sonya can do. I don't remember what she could do. But anyways, they fight. Cal goes in against two people and still wins. And then Arvin's like, Evangeline Andros. And Evangeline's like, nope. And he's like, I beg your pardon? And his voice gets higher than a whisper. And she's like, I challenge Marina Titanes, Mare. So she's challenging Mare. A little bit back and forth. And Mare's trying to sit there and say, like, I need more time. I need to be more confident. I need more time. I need more practice with my powers. Because when I go in there, I want to go in there to win. And I don't want to come out a loser. And of course, what is really going on is that she doesn't want to go in there and get injured and show off her red blood, because then all the Silvers would kill her, like, immediately. There'd be no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, Cal gives her some advice. He says, keep her on the move, and don't let her, surround you. So, they have a fight. Spiders, she's knocking him down, then Evangeline hits her in the back, but Mare knocks her down, and with that, she gets on top of her and starts just punching her in the face. Of course, it doesn't really do too much, but then she calls upon, her spiders, metal spiders, to come into this big ginormous thing to knock Mare off and to pin Mare down, and a razor leg drags across her face, drawing red hot blood. And then I think it's either Cal or no, it's Maven. Maven throws fire to destroy the metal and holds him up and moves her out of the way. Cal, of course, blocks off the healers from seeing her face. And then as they're leaving, she hears Evangeline yelling and Cal yelling back. So she has to be taken to Julian. She says Julian will know what to do. They go in there. And he's like, okay, well, I'm not a skin healer. And Maven, who obviously does not like Julian for some reason, goes, he can't do anything. And then he snarls at Maven, find Sarah Sokonos. Of course, why they hate Sarah Sokonos, I don't know. But he leaves, and she's like, what's going on? He's like, not now. And she's like, who's Sarah Sokonos? He says, a skin healer, she'll be a discreet friend. So she's a discreet friend for his. And he's like, Maven comes back and says, she's not who I would have chosen for this. And Lady Sokonos comes in, doesn't say anything, goes immediately to heal her. She says thank you, and then Julian says thank you, Sarah. And they look at each other, and then Maven dismisses her, and she gets angry as she spins and walks away. And then Julian's like, the longer you're gone, the more people will start to talk. And Maven says, I agree, and so they left. As they're walking away, the Queen Alara stops them, and she's like, trouble, dear? And he's like, nothing I can't handle. And she's like, best hurry up, Lady Marina, or you'll be late for your luncheon until we'll carry on your training. Red blood is just so hard to clean up. And Mare snaps. She says, you would know, because no matter how hard you try to hide it, I can see it all over your hands. And that's not what you say to someone who can control your body. She goes to choking Mare, but Maven stops her and then tells her to go get ready for her luncheon. And at the luncheon, it's a little weird because there's a bunch of silvers, who have volunteered to go to the front lines. Now, Mare doesn't know the full story, but the full story is that Cal's putting together a unit that he's going to go lead and going to be on the front lines, and they're going to be dressed as silvers, dressed as reds, living as reds, and acting as reds. And then they're going to sit there and go, boom, we're silvers actually, haha, and try to get the Lakelanders off guard so that way they can try to win the war. And apparently, Mare gave Cal that idea by falling into the Queen's trial. Not like she actually meant to do it on purpose. Because she didn't. Definitely didn't. And she was a little shocked that Cal was going to be a general and going to lead this himself. Like, super shocked about it. That night, Cal comes in, tugs her along, and I'm going to teach you how to dance. So they start listening to music and dancing, and they dance. And she tries to wheedle him for information about Julian and Sokonos, and she's like, Maven has his own reasons. And he's like, I don't dislike her, but I just don't like thinking about her. And he finds out that she grew up with Julian and his mother. And Sarah said a lot of stuff that she probably shouldn't have, and her voice was taken for it. He's like, okay, we don't want to leave. And he's like, same time tomorrow night. And then he walks away. She's like, what the hell am I doing? She goes back to her rooms, and Maven's there, and he's like, late night walk. And she's like, you're not supposed to be here. Lady Blanos will be scandalized. She'll punish us both. And he's like, mother's men owe me a favor too. Blanos won't have evidence to convict. And that's where I ended up. That's where I ended up at the end. That's where I ended up. So 221 out of, I don't remember how many. 383. 221 out of 383. 57% of the way through the... Okay, that's fair. Whatever is fair. I have like 5 hours left in 20 minutes. So with this 5 hours and 20 minutes, it'll probably take me another 5.5 days to finish it. Which I got plenty of time in January to do that. Or at least I think I do. Because today's the 21st. Tomorrow's the 22nd. And then we have the 23rd, right? And then the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. Yeah. I'll have 2 days where I won't be listening to anything. So yeah, we'll make it. We'll make it. I have one little thing in here, and I think that's probably like my favorite quote that I've marked down. Yeah. So far so good. Exciting shit has happened. I can't wait to read the rest of this. Well, listen to the audible the rest of this. Besides, shit has happened, and it's happened, and it's happened. Like, you have no clue how excited it is. Okay? So, Maven is in her room, right? Maven is in Mayor's room, and he's like, Farley was here, and I gave a bunch of names, and he listed off the names that he gave. Now, I'm not sure, well, I think, but anyways, I'm not sure why he named off these names, but he did, and he gave off a few of them. Reynold, Irol, Ptolemy, Samos, Elaine, Macanthos, Bellicus, Leolam. Of course, who knows why he gave off these names, but he did say what they did. Like, Colonel Macanthos commanded half a legion and heads of war council. Another one sits there and handles the financial side of shit. And I'm sure another one did something very important, but I don't remember exactly what it was. So, she learns a little bit more about what happened to Sarah. She was, so what happened was that Sarah spoke out about what was happening to Julian's sister. Forgot her freaking name. Don't have it in front of me either. And took the Queen Alara, the new queen, took Sarah's tongue out, so now she can't talk at all. And it's the person he loved. Julian loved that person. Like, super duper fucking loved that person. But skin healers can't heal themselves, and no one would cross the punishment, so she has to live with the shame of having her tongue out forever. He's like, you don't understand the game we're playing. Do not get above yourself. And everything. Yeah, so. At the dance, she's very, very nervous about what's going to happen. Of course, he says, I'm not going to, Cal talks to her for a little bit, and he's like, I'm not going to miss her, but I'll miss you. No, ma'am, you ain't supposed to be on that chair. Your brother did right. So, and then he kisses her. No, that's not the dance. That's before the dance. Man. Then the dance happens. They have a few talks, discussions about shit. And when it does happen, like, literally, it goes dark. Well, it doesn't go dark. Shots happen, it goes dark. And, then when the lights come back on, everybody's a mess. Everybody's running around, screaming and hollering. And, after she's being removed from the room, what seems to be a bomb goes off. We later learn out that it's actually just an explosion from Cal's fire hitting a gas line. So this gas tank was exposed in the ground, and his fire lit the room on fire, killed 12 people. Now, Colonel Macanthos is definitely dead, but Ptolemy Samos did not die. He fucking lived. I don't know how, but he lived. There was a bunch of injured and everything like that. When she finally gets into the room where they're all being held for protection, they, the queen is, the king is like, I want them found, I want them in front of me with a blade at the back, I want them to sing like cowards. And, then they ask about what happened, what she remembers, and she tells them everything that happened, and she's like, there was a banner up here attached to a spear, this girl, God did this, and she said, did they? And then she whirls on the king and says, it's your fault that you didn't take care of them when they were nothing more than pamphlet handing out people. And he's like, how was I supposed to know that they were going to do things? And he's like, they were weak. And she said, did something weak do that? And she was pointing above where, their farewell party exploded. Blah, blah. So Cal comes in with red blood all over him, and he says, Mayor, come with me. He leads him down and out. And he points out, because there's 4 people in the show. Wallace, Tristan, Kalorn, and Farley. Farley's the leader of the fucking Scarlet Guard. What do you mean she's in prison? Been captured? Oh my fucking God. Are you serious right now? Totally serious. By the way, if you guys are thinking, I just got up not that long ago. Like, about an hour and 20 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago. Hour and a half, and I did some dishes. I haven't gotten dressed because it's morning time. My sister went out shopping, so I'm babysitting her little 1-year-old who doesn't know how to not put things in her mouth or climb on things that are very dangerous for her. Dishes are doing in the background. So, yes, I'm in my pajamas. And he's like, he's your friend, explain this. Evangeline turns around and goes, you brought him here? She's like, I just got him a job at the lumber yards because he's my friend. And I thought I just wanted him to be a servant. I thought I was helping him. And she's like, Maeve was like, they seem to be only servants. And he said, I'd say the same, except, Cal was like, I say the same, except they were trying to escape through a drain pipe. Took us a while to drag them out. And Tiberius is like, the king's like, is this all of them? He's like, no, there was more, but they got away. I don't know how many. And she's like, let's find out. Call the queen. And in the meantime, torture. So Cal does indeed torture. He wants some ice. And Glycon apparently is from House Glycon, which is ice wielders, apparently, in some way, shape, or form. So what Glycon can do is he can freeze the blood inside of a person, and he does that with Farley because Evangeline says that one. Farley, of course, doesn't give anything away besides we are everywhere. And then Ptolemus' voice screams, where is she? And Evangeline screams back, I'm here. And Ptolemus actually, in his rage, because he thought they were targeting his sister, which maybe they were, because he's like really, really pissed off. You will not threaten my sister again. And he literally gets into the cell. Cal tries to stop him. Evangeline tries to stop him. Sentinels try to stop him, but nobody can stop him. And he actually spears Tristan in the chest. So there goes Tristan. Now there's only 3 prisoners in the Red Guard. Yeah. And Maven, Mayor steps up, grabs the back of his neck, and electroshocks him until he goes down and says, don't worry, I didn't actually hurt him. He's like you said, we need them to talk. They can't do that if they're dead. And Maven's like, Mother can attend to the prisoners, but the upstairs will want to see their king and know it is safe. And, of course, Evangeline wants them to suffer, and Tiberius, the king, is like, no, they will keep. Tomorrow the truth will be known. So, Evangeline says, you are weak, my prince, and walks away. So, 12 are actually officially dead. And he has a talk about it, how it was their fault, how the explosion was their fault, how everybody died, and that these people's murders will be brought to justice. And they will die. So, a lot of bad things happening, and it's a lot of terrible shit. So, she calls to Julian, and they have the discussion about what happened and everything. And Julian wants she wants Julian's help because he's a singer and he can tell the guards, make them do anything you want. She wants him to free the prisoners. He's like, the shooting, the bombing, it was all you. And he's like, the bomb was unexpected. But this was my plan, and they're going to find out, and we need to have them not know. Right? Right. She's like, she'll take my eyes for this if I help out. And then she's like, me die. I deserve it as much as they do. She's like, he's like, they called my sister's death a suicide. That was a lie, knew it. She was a sad woman, but she never would have done such a thing. Not when she had Cal and Tide. She was murdered, and I said nothing. She says, but this will be a good place to start, because he's been waiting to get his revenge. So, she calls for Lucas. She's like, I'm hungry. Escort me down to the cooks, because I don't think it's good for the servants to be out. So they get out, and they run into, of course, Julian. Julian spells him to forget the shit and to take him to the cells. Use a service. They get down there. She charms the sentinels into letting them have 5 minutes alone with the prisoners. Of course, they use Lucas to open up the bars. And when they call them down here, one by one, to, put them to sleep so they don't remember shit. The last one, Pig Eyes and the Healer, are a little more difficult than the other guards are. So she walks up the stairs to the last two, asking if there's a problem. The Healer gets in front of the Pig Eyes and puts her hand on the railing. So she puts her hand on the railing, getting her powers ready to spark. And then the Healer shoots her, and she lights them both up. Fire. The Pig Eyes goes to sit there and shoot her in the head, but he gets taken down by Kalorn. He's like, Moira, you'll be fine. Julian wakes up the Healer, heals her, heals Walsh's arm, Farley's arm, because it's still broken. And then we need to go. We have a few hours. And she's like, okay. Farley's like, I don't know how, but I hope you become queen one day. Imagine what you could do then, the Red Queen. She's like, go before nonsense rubs off on me. Before your nonsense rubs off me. So, yeah, they break him out. But, of course, since she got shot, what they didn't think about was that she left behind her red blood, which we'll get to how that's important, okay? That is important, okay? Important. She wakes up, and the people are, after having a dream about Shade being dead, the maids going through her closet and thing, packing shit, and she's like, we only know what we're told, and she's like, orders, my lady. She's like, well, I'm gonna get dressed then. She goes out to see if she can't find Lucas. Lucas isn't there, so she's a little worried about Lucas. Maven shows up and says, you're up early, especially for her last night. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, the prisoners are gone. All 3 of them. Disappeared into thin air. She's like, by my colors. Because, they're being watched. She interrogated a lot of them. She's like, whoever did it well. Besides, we may never find out who we did it. He's like, then she's like, what'd your mother find out about the bomb? And she's like, there was no bomb. And that's when they learned about the gas puncture line. And because a bullet hit it. So, she's turning the guard into monsters, is what Mare says. They leave that afternoon to go to Archeon, which is the capital. Of course, Cal had a terrible time. And he's like, nope, the Shadow Legion's not going anywhere anymore. Well, he did have a bad time. He's like, I'm a soldier. I can't sit still. And he's like, you never change, Cal. You can't just stand still. And he's like, never. Of course, Mary doesn't like him anymore. And he's like, nice armor. It'll go well with your collection. So this is a gift from Ptolemy. I seem to share a common cause with my patroller's brother. Ptolemy commands the officers. He's a killer. He's a good killer. I'm a good hunter. So we're going to hunt down the Scarlet Guard. So she just wanders, and she wanders to Julian, and they say their goodbyes because he's got to disappear in order to stay safe. Maven sits there and tells her as they're drifting that the Sentinels have been reassigned. The ones that were there, they're most likely all dead, technically. And she asks, oh, he's traveling with his family. And he's like, but not for long. Answers are coming. And she's like, what do you mean? They said found blood down in the cells, red blood. And she's like, they talk about the blood base. So basically, they had a blood database, which was any red born within 100 miles of civilization gets sampled at birth. It started as a project to understand the difference between them. But he ended up just as another way to put a collar on, Reds. And Reds don't use IDs, they use blood tags to come and go instead. And they're like, well, it takes some time, about a week or so, but they will find out. She's like, oh no, they shot me, so it's my blood. And he's like, I will fix this. I won't let them hurt you. You have my word. And she's like, maybe you can't fix everything. He's like, you're right, I can't. But I can convince someone with more power than me. And then he kisses her. Then Cal interrupts, saying, the Queen requests your presence on the viewing deck, passing the stilts, Mayor. She's like, thank you, Cal. So Maven's like, I don't ever want to lose you, Mayor. I won't. And he's like, she's like, you never will. But they both know it's a lie. So now they're on the viewing deck. And that's where it ended. So that's where I'm at. I have a feeling something bad is going to happen. And I'm not going to like it. But I won't know until Monday when I have to go off to work. And listen to another hour of this. I think I only have like 4 hours left. Me check. No, I have about 4 hours. A little under 4 hours left of listening. I can't believe that's like under 4 hours of listening. And no, someone did suggest that I speed up the audibles, and I tried that. I don't, it sounds unnatural to me, so no. I will listen to it at the regular speed that it is, and I will deal. But I've only got about 4 days left of listening, which will get me to Thursday of next week. And that should be fine, because as long as I don't go past January, we'll be fine. So February is going to be a little more concerning, guys, because I have to listen to The Eye of the World, which is The Wheel of Time, first book by Robert Jordan. And even though I'm excited to get into it, because I'm very excited to get into it, it's like a 32-hour read. And that concerns me just a small, tiny smidgen, because 32 hours is more hours than there are days in February. I would probably have to listen to at least maybe 2 hours on the weekend every single day to make up for that. I mean, it's doable. In the long run, I can possibly do that. I'll have to see. I'll have to rearrange some shit, put some time elsewhere to get me that time block. So I'll have to rearrange editing and videos and recordings, and just have a time blocked out, like for 2 hours Saturday and Sundays in February to listen to The Eye of the World. But I am excited to listen to it. I've been wanting to get into The Wheel of Time. It's like an epic fantasy, and it's high, and I want to divulge into it because it sounds very interesting from what Daniel B. Green has said, because he's obsessed with it. But it's also like one of those staples, you know. It's a fantasy staple. I will tell you now that I'm not going to get into George R.R. Martin, even though there are dragons in it. I'm not in that kind of hype. It doesn't appeal to me the way I think it should. And maybe it would if I actually gave it a chance. But I'm not going to. Unless a bunch of people try and convince me. But I have listened to the rest of the Red Queen. I'm going to tell you. There's a plot twist in here that caught me off guard. It caught me off guard, guys. Not gonna lie. And I've realized that doing these things, I do a lot of ums and ahs and whoosh, and I don't really like that. So we're just gonna talk about it. We're just gonna talk about it, okay? So the queen is a massive bitch. Because not only does she and the king order the Reds to line up along the river to watch as they go back to Archeon, they whip them if they're not in line. And Cal thinks it's a good idea. He doesn't say nothing about the whipping, but he does think it's something that they should be doing. Because, obviously, since the Silvers are below the Reds, they should be doing it. Also, Julian, I think Julian is dead. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if he's actually dead yet, but I'm hoping he's not. He is like a blessing in disguise because he sat there and took the death of all those that went missing and were to be executed and all that stuff, and missing bodies and things like that, lost bodies. Not done in massive graves, and he took the general markers of their DNA, which is in their database, and then compared it to Mare's DNA in the database, and he finds an extra marker in their blood. 27 people died because of this extra marker, because they had powers like hers. So she's not the only one, and there's over 100 more people like that he found and he listed in a book for her. So it's freaking awesome that there's more people out there. But the thing that made this really twisty, Maven fucking betrays them in this book. Maven betrays them, and he actually sits there and betrays them in like a terrible way. So the bridge has been blown off, right, for the Scarlet Guard. They're ready to attack, and Mare's going up to Cal and trying to convince Cal to betray his father, but he grabs her and Maven and tries to go after the Scarlet Guard in the drain and drags them before his father. But his mother is there, and his mother digs into Mare's head, and it turns out that Ilara wanted Maven on the throne instead of Cal, and forces Cal to kill his father by cutting his head off. And because Arven is behind Mare, she can't use her own powers. So they get sentenced to the Bowl of Bones, which is the execution grounds for Silvers. And Lucas is there, and Lucas and her have a conversation, and how he's like, "You're all just like them. They taught you too well." The cruelty on that boy, the cruelty that was dealt with him, and he walks out and gets killed by Firing Squad, and she walks out as they're dragging his body away. Such a sad moment right there, because Lucas didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it at all, not at fucking all. So because they're there, Cal gets his powers back, but it's like reduced. Maven's doing everything in his power to make it reduced to where Cal can't use his power, his whatchamacallit, fire power, lava power, whatever it is that he uses from his bracelets to fight. And he has to go up against Evangeline, her brother Ptolemus, a water Samos, water dude, a dude who can go invisible, and they have to go up against a muscle head. Okay, so they got all of that they have to go up against, and Mare can't use her lightning, and Cal only has limited lightning. The battle is epic, but what's even more epic is that the heavy lifter muscle man kills Arven because she makes sure Arven's behind her. She's like, "Oh, Arven's behind me." So she ducks as something comes flying past, like this big ass metal thing, and it spears Arven, because Arven asks right before that happens, who has the advantage? And as she stares back at his brother, she's like, "I have the advantage," because it's like there's the lightning dome is up above them to protect the spectators, and she starts wielding lightning. Now this whole execution thing was being broadcast live to everyone, and Maven had lied and said it was trickery and tricks that her and the Scarlet Guard did to make her seem like she had silver blood, and she's like red and silver but stronger because she can create it. She doesn't just have it where she can just soak it up from wherever it is. She can create it within her own body. She can use it without lightning around her at all. And everybody saw that. Maven, of course, had cut off the screens after. It was too late for them, because, they did see. And he had shooed all of the silver people away. And he watches as Mare saves Cal. And they escape. Eventually flees. She's like fucking terrified of Mare and flees. She kills the heavy lifter dude. I think she kills the invisible dude as well. I don't know about the water dude. Well, I don't remember if she killed the water dude or not. But I know she didn't kill Ptolemus or Evangeline. But yeah. They flee down in the drainage. And something happens, and they get knocked out. And when she wakes up, the Scarlet Guard is there. Farley has survived. So Farley and Caloran have survived. Wallace was already killed, unfortunately. Shit. I was trying to avoid saying, basically I was trying to think of what to say next. Because this is what makes it even better. Shade, Mare's older brother, her favorite brother, is still alive. And it's because he's extremely fucking fast. His ability is to be fast. So, him and his sister have two different abilities. And he's like, don't worry, you'll be able to see mom and dad and our brothers and sisters soon. So that means he got them out of the stilts. And, oh my God. Cal's like, put me in chains. I know I'm dangerous. And so he becomes a willing prisoner, of course. And Mare's like, we have to find all those people. They can help us win against Maven and his people. Because they are like me and Shade. We are better than them. We are red and silver together and stronger. So we have to find them before he does. Because he has them. He has a list. So we have to find them first. So I can't wait to pull Glass Sword. I gotta go buy it first. But I can't wait. Okay? So my favorite character is, well, I don't really know if I have a favorite character. Lucas. Such an innocent person who knew Mare had a secret and kept it anyways. Who liked Mare, treated Mare well, and was just an all-around sweet guy who got his not deserved end because Maven is a fucking asshole. My least favorite, Maven. He lied. He made me believe. He made Mare believe. He made the Scarlet Guard believe that he was betraying his people for the right reason, for the right cause. And he was not. He was doing it so that way he could use it to his advantage and take the throne from Cal. That was his plan all along. What stood out as memorable? The fact that she decided to use two classes of blood, two different types of blood, and like silver blood, it's interesting because, there are plenty of stories out there with people having different colored blood, but not giving them a specific advantage. So all of the silver bloods have powers, but some of them are weaker than others, but all reds had no power. And now we're finding out that actually some of the reds have evolved and do. And that she weaved it in throughout the whole thing in the beginning before Mare found out she had powers about the electricity, because she's always been able to find it, always been able to sense it. It's always been there. So yeah. I don't have a favorite passage in this, but I do have a favorite quote. And it's, would get there much faster if you actually moved. Lucas says that to Mare as she stands there watching Maven leave. And she's like drenched, wet. Yeah. So And he's like trying to, well, not just one, he's trying to push her along to get back onto his schedule because the queen loves her schedule. So that's that. Now, for the last part, I did rate this a 4, and the only reason why I rated this a 4 was because Lucas died and he shouldn't have. Honestly, he was used. I should have sat there and pardoned him for that. He was used, but I understand why the Liches behind it. They killed everybody who knew about Mare and her ability being real, and lied to everybody else, simply so they could cover up. And he's like, Maven was like, you could have been my Red Queen, and now you're nothing.
I knew why it sounded familiar now.
Fuck you. Anyways, if you guys think I deserve a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription, would you go ahead and drop it down below? My name, so you know you show. That is not the correct outro. So if you guys think I deserve a like, comment, or even your lovely subscription, would you go ahead and drop it down below? I will see you next illusion.